So,
You ready? At 6 o'clock, please rise for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hello. No, not working.
it is working.
It is?
Yeah, it's right here.
Hello. All right. This is our annual organizational meeting, and before we begin, we're going to have Don administer the oath of office to Tim and Lisa for their 4-year terms.
Raise your right hands. I state your name.
I, Timothy Lane,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and will faithfully discharge the duties of treasurer for the Village of Manans
No.
Court.
and faithfully
won't.
discharge the duties of trustee.
Faithfully discharge the duties of trustee
That's what
of the Village of Manans.
According to the.
According to the best of my ability.
Congratulations. Sit down.
Okay. Congratulations to both Tim and Lisa for their election on a 4-year term, and we also thank Seth Harris for 12 years of service to the board. My first appointment is to appoint Tim Lane as deputy mayor function in my place and stead during my absence or inability to act, and is vested with all the powers and performs all the duties of the mayor pursuant to section 4-400 of village law. I'm also reappointing Stephen J. Rafus Esquire as village attorney for the ensuing official year. If Stephen is not available, someone from the Rafus Law Firm will act on his behalf. Ken, take it away.
Okay, resolution 26000001, resolved that the reappointment of Mayor Marsh of Stephen J. Rafus Esquire as village attorney for the ensuing official year being hereby is approved, and be it resolved that the legal services and proceedings for the issuance of bonds, abstracts, title, and any litigious matters shall be considered extra services, compensation for which shall be determined and audited by the Board of Trustees.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? With the village justice position being vacated as of noon today, we need appeals officers for the freedom of information requests. Don is primary, but we need a secondary, and I am therefore appointing David Watson Esquire as the appeals officer for freedom of information requests.
Resolution number 260002, be resolved that the appointment by the Mayor Marsh of David Watson Esquire as the appeals officer for freedom of information requests for the ensuing official year here be it by approved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? For the zoning board of appeals, I am going to reappoint John Bassett for a 3-year term ending on July 5th, 2028.
Resolution number 260003. Whereas the zoning board of appeals of this village was established by local law number 1 of 1976. And whereas this board has approved the appointment of several members thereof, and now therefore be it resolved that the reappointment by Mayor Marsh of John Bassett to the zoning board of appeals of the village of Manans be, and it hereby is approved for the term ending July 5th, 2028, and be further resolved that the village clerk be and hereby is directed to notify the aforesaid citizen of his appointment.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? I'm also reappointing John as chairman of the zoning board of appeal for the official ensuing year.
Resolution 260004, whereas the zoning board of appeals of this village was established by local law number 1 of 1976, and whereas this board has approved the appointment of the several members thereof, And therefore, be it resolved that the reappointment of John Bassett as chairman of the zoning board of appeals of the village of Manans be and it hereby is approved for the term ending July 6, 2026, and be it further resolved that Donald Hanrahan, the village clerk, be and he hereby is directed to notify the aforesaid citizen of his appointment.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? I am reappointing Michael Stewart as vice chairman of the zoning board of appeals for the next ensuing year.
Resolution 260005, whereas the zoning board of appeals of this village was established by local law number 1 of 1976, and whereas the board has approved the appointment of several members thereof, and therefore be it resolved that the reappointment of Michael Stewart as vice chairman of the zoning board of appeals of the village of Manans be and here is hereby approved for a term ending July 6, 2026. Don Hanrahan, the village clerk, be and hereby is directed to notify the aforesaid citizens of his appointment.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? I am reappointing Charles Ansert as alternate to the zoning board of appeals for a 1-year term ending July 6, 2026.
Resolution number 260006, whereas the zoning board of appeals of the village of Manans was established by local law number 1 of 1976, and whereas this board has approved the appointment of several members, therefore and now therefore be it resolved that the reappointment of Charles Answer as alternate to the zoning board of appeals of the village of Manans be and it hereby is approved for the term ending July 6, 2026, and be further resolved that the village clerk be and hereby is directed to notify the resident of this appointment.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? I am reappointing Kevin Franklin as historian for the village of Manans for the ensuing official year.
Resolution number 260007. Resolved that the reappointment by Mayor Marsh of Kevin Franklin as historian of the village of Manans for the ensuing official year be and hereby is approved. That one was so short.
A second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? I am reappointing Donald Hanrahan as register and reappointing Cheryl Lyon as deputy register of vital statistics for the village of Manans for the official ensuing year.
Resolution number 260008. Be resolved that the reappointment by Mayor Marsh of Donald Hanrahan as registrar and the reappointment of Cheryl Lyon as deputy registrar of vital statistics for the village of Manans be and hereby are approved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Let's see, Tim, you want to hit the,
Resolution 260009, whereas there is to be held during the coming official year, New York State Conference of Mayors Annual Meeting and Training School, New York State Conference of Mayors Fall Training School for fiscal officers and municipal clerks, New York State Government Finance Officers Association Conference, New York Conference of Mayors Public Works Training School, American Water Works Association Conference, New York State Chapter, SAMPO, New York State Association of Municipal Purchase Officers School, New York State Municipal Clerks Training School, and other conferences pertaining to the Chief of Police, Fire Chiefs, Building and Fire Inspectors, and NYALGRO Records Management Conference. Whereas it is determined by the Board of Trustees that attendance by certain municipal officials and employees at one or more of these meetings, conferences, or schools benefits the municipality, and that the expenses thereof shall be a village charge. Now therefore be resolved that the following officers and employees are hereby authorized to attend one or more of the above mentioned conferences or schools. Mayors, trustees, executive assistant to the mayor, village attorney, village clerk, village treasurer, deputy clerk treasurer, chief of police, superintendent of the Department of Public Works, and the Department of Public Works employees as directed, building and fire inspectors, fire chiefs, and be it further resolved that this resolution shall take effect immediately.
I'll second.
all those in favor? Any opposed?
Resolution number 260010, whereas the Board of Trustees has determined that village law, section 4-412 requires the designation of banks or trust companies for the deposit of all village monies. Now therefore be resolved, section 1, the Village of Trustees designates the following institution as a depository of all money received by the village treasurer, clerk, and receiver of taxes. Resolved that the Bank of Greene County be and hereby be designated as the official depository of several funds of the Village of Manans for the ensuing official year. And be it further, general fund, constellated, payroll, trust and agency, HRA, and 100th year anniversary, park improvement, developer escrow, ARPR, vehicle savings, equipment savings, fire equipment savings, general fund savings, water savings, and sewer savings. Section 2, this resolution is effective immediately.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Yay, me again. Resolution 26001. Whereas the board may authorize reimbursement for automobile expenses to officers and employees of the village who use their personal automobiles while performing their official duties on behalf of the village. Now therefore be it resolved that such reimbursement hereafter be made at the rate set forth by the IRS to such personnel when they incur such expenses unless otherwise negotiated in a collective bargaining agreement. And be it further resolved that when properly authorized, the same be paid upon audit by the Board of Trustees.
Second,
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
resolution 260012, be resolved that the next annual organizational meeting be held on Monday, July 6, 2026 at 6 p.m. in the municipal building at 250 Broadway, Manans, New York, 12204.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Resolution 260013. Resolved by the Board of Trustees of the Village of Manans of Records and Disposition Schedule LGS-1 issued pursuant to Article 57-A of the Arts and Cultural Affairs Law and continuing legal minimum retention periods for the local government records is hereby adopted for use by all officers in the legally disposing and valueless records listed therein. Further resolved that by Article 57-A, only those records will be disposed of that are described in the record retention and disposition schedule LGS-1 after they have met the minimum periods described therein. B, only those records will be disposed of that do not have a sufficient administrative, fiscal, legal, or historical value of merit retention beyond established legal minimum periods.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Resolution number 260014, be resolved that the regular meeting of the Board of Trustees of the Village of Manans shall be on the first and third Monday of each month during the ensuing official year. If the date of a regular meeting shall be a holiday, such meeting shall be held on the following day. Such a meeting may be adjourned from time to time in manners prescribed by law and shall be held at the municipal building in said village at 6 p.m. or at such other place or such other time as may hereafter be designated by the Board of Trustees.
Second,
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Resolution number 260015. General meeting procedures. The mayor presides over meetings of the Board of Trustees and sets the agenda for each meeting. If the mayor is absent, the deputy mayor may preside over meetings of the Board of Trustees and or appoint a trustee to preside in their place. Quorum will be 3 members of the Board of Trustees. To have a resolution approved, it must be entered, seconded, and voted on with a majority vote. Every meeting of the Board of Trustees must be open to the public. All meetings will be recorded, both video and audio. Special meetings. Special meetings of the Board of Trustees refer to all board meetings other than regular meetings. A special meeting may be called by the mayor or any trustee upon notice to the entire board. Notice may be given to board members by telephone, in person, email, or in writing at least 72 hours in advance unless an emergency exists. Notice to the public on the village website, posted in the lobbies of the Manans Police Department and the village office. Workshops and special meetings. The public may attend but cannot comment unless recognized by the mayor or the presiding officer. Public hearings. Notice to the public on the village website, Times Union Legal section, posted in the lobbies of the Manans Police Department and the village office at least 7 days before the meeting. The presiding officer must open the public hearing. The clerk must read the notice of the public hearing. The public must be allowed to comment only on the topic of the public hearing. The presiding officer must close the public hearing. No vote may be taken during the public hearing. Other procedures. An executive session is not open to the general public. Video conferencing must provide an opportunity for the public to attend, listen, observe, and participate in the meeting. Notice of the meetings and agendas is available on the village website and posted in the lobbies of the Manans Police Department and the village office. Public comments. Comments of any length may be provided to the village clerk. The public may only speak during the public comment period. The presiding officer must recognize speakers. Speakers must limit their remarks to 3 minutes. All remarks must be addressed to the board as a body and not to individual board members.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Next up is our procurement policy. Rather than reading the entire section.
Yeah, I'll vote to waive I'll motion to waive the.
Thank you.
entire-
Yes, you said we don't need it. As long as you read your part,
So-
I can
Just
say
read the part.
resolution.
Okay.
procurement
So
policy.
basically, the procurement policy used to be start at $1,000, which in today's world is literally nothing. So I've changed the categories to basically be 2,500, 5,000, and then over 5,000. So the categories basically, if something comes up that's under 2,500, it's at the department head's discretion. For public works issues, Mike has discretion up to 5,000, but he always communicates with me anyway. And then the second category goes from 2,500. It used to be 1,000 to 2,500. So basically, I'm just boosting the categories up by a reasonable level so that only, for instance, $25,001 and above for public works needs rewritten quotes for us to decide the link better. So that's the change to it. I don't think that the procurement policy has been updated in,
Well, it's been, there's nothing changed, it's just the amounts.
yeah, okay. So does the board have any questions or concerns about that? Does somebody want to, after that, as a motion?
Yep, resolution number 260016, the procurement policy for the village of Manans.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Okay.
Thank you, Steve,
resolution-
for saving us. Thank you, Molly. Thank you, Molly.
I was kind of hoping when I
Saving
went
us.
through this.
I was like, we're gonna be here all night and I have to read it.
I was hoping myself, exactly. Resolution 260017. Resolution authorizing payment in advance of public utility services, i.e. electric, gas, water, sewer, and telephone services, postage, freight, express charges, and insurance as authorized by the village law, section 5-524. Such claims shall be presented for audit at the next regular meeting. A resolution authorizing the treasurer to approve and pay the claims for public utility services, postage, freight, and express charges before the regular meeting at which they are presented for the payment.
Second,
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
So that just means the invoice doesn't have to be
So
signed.
as an
prior.
example,
Yeah.
National Grid, their bills only give you 20 days to pay it, otherwise they consider it late. And so by the time, even though we get the bills electronically, there are some times when, just because of our meeting schedule, they may get the payment late. So it authorizes those bills, for instance, to be paid automatically and then just in the board packet for audit. But just those types of regular monthly expenses. Anything that comes in by bid would not be in that category. I'm sorry, did we vote?
yes.
Yeah, okay.
Resolution 260018, making the motions for the Manans Fire Department to use fire apparatuses for the following events: Santa Claus Holiday Detail in the Village, Little League Parade, Manans School Field Day, Halloween Parade, Memorial Day Parades, funeral details with the mayor's approval, training classes, and St. Patrick's Day Parade.
Can we add in here, the Manans 12 Field Day rain date as well? Because I know we've moved it this year and then David came back and asked again.
What was that?
The rain date.
A rain date for field day, like he came back and asked again this year because
Is there anything else you think?
That's the case, make it for rain dates for all the
Yeah, I
events
guess, yeah.
at this rate.
Can we just say or rain date at the
Yeah,
bottom?
or rain date. I can just,
Sure, I agree with that.
I'll change it afterwards as following events. I'll put or rain date.
Perfect. I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, suggesting some liaison responsibilities for different, departments. Like we have in the past, I would ask, board members to work with their departments and try and give the board some updates if possible, so things that are going on. I am reappointing Tim to be on the Economic Development Committee with me. And for the youth program, at least temporarily, I'm appointing Brianna and Elizabeth Shantz to the part-time youth program. And I believe that's it for the organizational meeting.
No, you gotta go through everybody, what everybody's doing.
I have,
Just say go through.
okay, sure.
Any economic development isn't listed under.
It's at the bottom.
What's at the bottom?
Yeah, separately. Okay, so, trustee Newman, basically Lyle and David, building department code enforcement is Lyle, MS4 is David Ogden. I'm gonna take the police department, DPW. Nick is fire, department and company. Trustee Lane is historian, parks, beautification and environment. Trustee Harbor, it's gonna be youth, seniors and schools. And then, like I said, economic development is Tim, and then Brianna and Elizabeth are youth program. Let's move on. Say it again.
That's a record.
For our organizational meeting, we aim to be.
We did it in 22 minutes.
All right, look at that. Progress. All right, let's go to our regular meeting. First up, we need a motion to approve the last meeting minutes. And I believe Tim had some corrections.
Or, oh, no, it was, the only thing I'd mentioned to Don is I was applying June 16th. That was,
We're all set?
Yeah.
I have a motion.
I'll motion.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And
Okay, the numbers that are in your things are wrong, but we have to correct ones in here. Mary Jane corrected it. For warrant number 2X encumbered, this is encumbers the last year's. General is $79,610.70. Water, $112,859.70. Sewer is $60,682.12, totaling $3,152.52. This year, warrant number 3. This week 1. Right? Yeah. It's warrant, it's something. This year is warrant 1.
no, it's our fiscal year. It's just fiscal year.
Although the fiscal, warrant number 3, $215,150.32.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that one more time, please?
$215,150.32. Water. $203,698.44. Water, sewer, $100,281.14, totaling $519,129.90. Warrant number 2X. General, $1,367.92. Payroll number 2, $129,353.31. Payroll 2X, we had, there was a problem with one of the employees. We had to give him, he didn't get paid the whole time he was here. That's why we had to do a special run. Is $963.20.
The majority of the money, for those large numbers is engineering costs tied to the South End project. And so those will be pieces that will be reimbursed through the bonding and that whole project. So that's what the big numbers are for there.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the warrants.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We talked last meeting about applying for a brownfield opportunity area program grant. It's a 90% grant, and basically, like Matt, from Labella had explained, we're gonna concentrate on the section of the village, essentially from, I think it's from
The 378 area.
basic, okay, and north and south of the 378 bridge area. I need approval to sign the agreement to submit, for the grant. And basically, we're gonna request, $200,000, of grant funds, 90% of which will be covered by the grant. This will give us basically a roadmap to apply for other grants, for that, to redevelop that area, encompassing some of the solutions that, New York State Department of Transportation is trying to implement for, the 378 bridge and Route 32 connection. So this will hopefully give us some ideas as to how to better use that property once some of those changes take place.
And again, this is all in line with the comprehensive plan. Very good. I would like to make that motion.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And, just so everyone's aware, we're basically very likely to get this grant because it is, scores very high. So I think it'll be a win for us. I'll sign that tomorrow then.
I'll have it ready for it.
Thank you. Where are we?
PBA or
Okay.
the.
So we've been discussing, basically what comes down to a union contract as for the police command staff, which is Kevin as lieutenant and Ryan as chief. I've met with, Bill Wallens, or at least had, conference calls with Bill Wallens and Attorney Rafus, talking about the different elements within what they have proposed as an official contract. A lot of the, language in the contract mirrors what our police PBA contract, that for their union is. And essentially, as I've explained to the board members, the contract with the command staff mirrors a lot of the, benefits and employment, guidelines that the command staff will now get that mirror the PBAs. It will help with getting command staff to get promoted from within, as a lot of the terms mirror the PBAs. For instance, if somebody is promoted from a sergeant detective to a lieutenant, they automatically, under the terms, they would lose vacation time. They don't have comp time as the PBA does. So for instance, for the holiday train, Kevin and Ryan come in and work that day, even though it's a holiday. It was a holiday, for, 2 years ago for, was it Black Friday, right? And so basically the contract that they're proposing, that the board members have had time to review, it would give them a comp time day so that they can take that day and use it another time. It just memorializes some of those things that we do with the PBA that we'll do now in a contract with the command staff. The net cost of all of the changes was estimated to be about $3,000 in total. And essentially that really comes down to, after so many years of being in command staff roles, the chief and the lieutenant will get some longevity pay similar to what the PBA patrol staff get. So that's really the only cost for this contract. So I answered some questions from board members. Does anyone else have any questions or concerns about?
Was that 3,000 per person, 3,000 in total?
Yeah, they're not, in talking with Kevin and Ryan about the items that are within their contract, this wasn't about money. It was more about the life work balance that patrolmen get, that command staff don't get. So essentially, like, for instance, they'll earn comp time for, Kevin was here during, when we had the murder on the bike path. Okay, and he was here basically for an entire weekend. So that type of an event would earn him comp time to use as vacation time sometime else. But it's not for, if Kevin and I have, or Brian and I have a conversation at night, you know, talking about things, they're not like, with the meter, you know, counting the minutes. Those things are part of the job. But it's in severe, you know, instances or situations that they would, you know, that they would basically have the opportunity to use that time, to make up for the time that they've spent over hours, because they don't receive overtime, like regular patrolmen. So that's basically what it comes down to. Bill Wallens and I had a long discussion about it, and Steve as counsel as well. And so, what we've come up with is something that basically the union was very, agreeable to, two of them as their union. And so that's why we proposed it. Anyone questions?
There's only two of them. Who's gonna be the president? Cause I tried to read most of the contract. They get 2 days a year for union business. How much union business is there going to be with two of them?
I don't know the answer to that question. I think when you're talking about union business, I think that's if there's, for instance,
A grievance?
grievance.
Okay,
Well, that's a good point. Also, it's the grievance procedure, for instance.
yes, it was very detailed.
It gives the board more control over grievance procedures.
Yes, because if they don't like your answer, they get to come to us.
Correct. In previous situations,
It was your answer, no
it
answer.
was, yeah. I mean, and so this gives the board a little bit more control over the management, as a group rather than one person making all the decisions. So,
And the other thing too is with the union thing, and I know it's with Mark and with the Teamsters, and there's sometimes where they have the union has a conference and one of them can go to the conference, they can use the union time during that. That was during, when we did the TBA one. That was what that was for. I think that's just mirroring that. If there is something union business,
Union-related union training.
yeah.
anyone want to make that motion?
I'll make a motion.
Anyone want to second? Can I second? Am I legally able to second, Steve?
Okay.
Am I legally able to second the motion?
Yeah, you're a voting member.
Then I will second that motion. And so all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? All right. Thank you very much for that. I know
Mayor's
that's
report.
a little long to get that done. I know our guys appreciate that. Let's see, the South End infrastructure project, is supposed to be starting, I think, the third week of July.
Third week and first week in August,
Okay. Before that, we are told that by next week, the gas company, should be, starting their piece. And be awarded to. Do you have that? There we go. From National Grid. The contract was awarded to, J. Mullen Company. That's the contractor for National Grid, and they will be starting in mid-July. So I would say this next week, hopefully, they'll start that. On the Simmons Lane parking changes have started. Don and I are gonna have to work on some of the people to comply with the changes to get them out of the roadway, but I am working with the town of Colony on some sewer work for the line that runs down Manand Road, also known as the South End, or the Manand Road Colony Interceptor. Initially, Labella had estimated the cost of updating that whole sewer line at about $800,000. but under a state contract, Kenyon has given us a quote for just under $200,000. So we're gonna work with, right, a little bit off. But there's some manhole work that they have to do there. So, even if it's twice that, it's still well below where the initial estimate is. We're gonna be working with the town of Colony to get some grant funding next year to start working on that. And Steve and I are negotiating that with town of Colony. On July 19th, the Capital Region Farmers Market in Manans is going to be holding an event called Squash Hunger. It's squash season, and so the farmers are going to be donating some produce for the community to purchase, and all the funds received from that are going to go towards funding the Sacred Heart Food Pantry. That's a cool event. We're going to sponsor with them and challenge their community to, so if they can make it, come buy some squash. We're working with Labella on the lead line service inventory, and I'll have some proposals for the board to address some of the lead lines that we have and that whole project, which is due. It's due.
October.
That's going to be a good project. We have $15,000 towards Gensler Smith Park parking improvements, regrading the parking areas, putting lines in, increasing ADA accessibility. And we're very likely to get that funding for that project. Tim wrote a letter, Assemblyman Steck and Jay Gashby all wrote letters of support, so I can't see us not getting that. Every 2 weeks, I have a meeting with the Albany County Healthcare Cooperative. We actually, named it REACH, which stands for Regional Expansion of Albany County Healthcare Cooperative. They even designed a logo. Lisa, representing RCS Library System, is part of that, representing the library system. So
I get to see Brian every 2 weeks at the
Okay,
meetings for
there you
the healthcare cooperative,
Yeah.
and allegedly we're gonna save money, so
yes,
here's hoping.
yes, definitely. The city of Troy provides the water that Manans purchases from them to go to everyone's homes. And I had the Troy water report was posted on our website under waters, just so that everybody can read about Troy's water and some of the details about various levels of different elements of the water. Nothing was of concern in that, and I just wanted everybody to be aware of it. See that we can talk about next meeting. Today was the last day for the Manans District Court, Village Court. I'd like to thank Chris for his 8 years as village justice, and both Associate Justices Bob Bescher and Dave Rowley for filling in after Bob Bescher resigned. But I'd like to thank them all for their service to the village. Everything now goes to the town of Colony, and we'll be transferring some files on Friday to the Colony Court. Since the court is now closed, we're going to be working towards moving our board meetings into the courtroom. John and I have some ideas as to how to do that. And we're going to be working with some planners to try and figure out how to rearrange things and move everything over to that room. Susan's retirement day will be July 24th. She has notified Don that will be her retirement date, and we'll be working towards getting everything over to Colony. I am working with 2 Manans businesses to expand here in the village. I can't say what they are right now, but they're very exciting opportunities for us to grow some of the businesses that are along Broadway. I'll have hopefully some updates the next meeting, but, it's great to see, finance-based businesses grow here. We're working today and tomorrow on the next edition of the Finance Monthly. Right, John?
Yeah,
And, we'll have some, preliminary stuff for everybody to approve tomorrow. Molly, if you could take a look at that, that'd be awesome.
Yep.
And I guess that's everything I have. Trustee reports. Lisa?
The traffic lights down by the bus stop on Broadway near Village One Apartments still aren't working. The black lights.
oh, those are in the town of Collins.
Yes, and you said you would call
I
somebody.
did call him.
Who is this person?
It's the director of operations or whatever the title is. I will send him another email.
Thank you.
You mean the lights?
The light lights. I don't mean I mean
Yes.
the street lights.
Got it.
not
The black
the black
Got it.
ones.
Yeah, we had one of ours fall all over the weekend.
Yes.
It rusted out the bottoms.
It's one of the ones that we're
It's
hopefully.
very dangerous at night when you're driving down there, when you can't see people trying to get to the bus stop.
I will,
Yeah, it does. It suddenly becomes very
Very dark.
dark, yes.
I forgot one thing that literally just popped up. It looks like, New York State has just given us final authorization to get reimbursed for the Mid-City Plaza,
for the
store in New York, $500,000 that we got him. So Don, tomorrow we're gonna work on completing that and getting him the $500,000. So sorry. But that just happened. So Nick,
This morning at the crossing of Menands Road and Villa, the signals were acting up with the trains. I didn't see no trains come by. The pole was down, the lights were flashing around 7 o'clock this morning. I don't know if anyone reported anything about that.
That's first I heard of it. Usually
Okay,
I was gonna say, like, the last week and a half, they've been like sending utility like vehicles up and down. So it like goes by and but it stays down like much till they're like way out of
it was
sight.
just this one, not the one on Brookside, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I
So
saw it. I go to work for like 6 a.m, so, and my truck was facing up the street, so I went up the street and I decided not to cross the track because they were flashing, but they were wide open.
Yeah,
So I turned on, I don't know if that's Station Road or whatever that
Yeah.
is, and went around that way, just because I didn't know if there was a train coming, but I was gonna bring that up.
Mhm.
When you got the public that you're talking about,
Yeah.
so
Yep.
if they did come down, that they weren't down and things,
okay,
and the lights were all up.
so they were still down.
They were
From
up
6
at that time.
Oh, they were up, okay.
All the lights were blinking, but everything was up,
Okay,
except the one for the pedestrians.
yeah, that one was down at second as well. The
So
lights were still
I
up
was
as well.
wondering that.
Okay. In addition to that, just sidewalks, cars on the sidewalks still, especially on Menands Road and Amsterdam, Wilford, those areas, cars are still parked on the sidewalks. Just to see if our police department did some things about that. That's all.
Yes, I had just one question for follow-up. From the last meeting, I had mentioned about, we had discussed the flooding from the rain along Manan Road and Station. And if we had,
I sent them,
did you out?
I sent them a letter, an email this morning to them.
Yeah, so I sent in more pictures today because when I went over the tracks, I was like, I was out of town, but I got home like noontime yesterday. I'm like, it definitely hasn't rained like that because they're totally, that area is totally flooded today and we haven't had rain. So I was like, this is not
Did
good.
they respond at all, Don?
I mean, I just sent it this morning to,
All right.
or late morning.
Okay. Okay, I just wanted to mention that, there's some communication with Matt Rogers and he's working on the final report for the Little River, project. And, hopefully to have that, completed and uploaded to the Greenway, by the end of the month. And then I also, found out recently that, through Taco's office that they're offering bricks and New York State County Health, had mentioned bricks grants for municipalities that can use for parks and community facilities. So if you want to possibly we could look into that as a possibility for ourselves.
So I communicated with Matt this morning, and there was some, the terms of the grant say, this grant is specific to community centers as defined, and some of the definitions of it did not match, but we're gonna try and see if we can apply it. Because we use this for seniors, voting, village meetings,
Right.
meetings by neighborhood and community organizations. We don't use it for after-school education, but we use it for youth events, recreation. We do use it for, workforce training. I don't know, does chair yoga count as athletics?
Yes.
Sure, okay. Programs for seniors, right, so I felt that it does, and I think it's worth applying.
Oh, my God, yes.
And so, yeah, so Matt and I are gonna work on that.
Okay.
Great, yeah.
I don't believe I had anything else.
Thank you again, Diane, for inviting us all to senior picnic.
Yes.
Yes, the park program started today. I got up there this morning. She had a full house. The park was full. It was really exciting to see. And she has a great schedule planned for that summer. So,
I think she said 48 kids.
yeah.
Miss Ryan,
Brian is,
oh, that's
yeah.
great. That's great.
And they pulled Louisa's snake, the rock snake, back out of the garage, so she's set up out there. Yes, okay.
I just wanted to add one sad thing that I was told today is that, a girl who drowned on Lake George was from Manans. She lived,
Happened on July, was it July 4th or July
Yeah.
3rd?
so that was sad, sad event.
Do we have an address so we could send a note to her family yet, or?
Cheryl's working on that. Getting the address. She lived in one of the apartment buildings. Supposedly, from what I heard, she was a shaker athlete.
Yes, she played basketball. She was a year ahead of Layla in school.
Just from here?
Yeah.
Mhm. I'm kidding.
What, you brought her door?
Yeah, they were in school together.
Sorry. I also wanted to report that, I'm working on getting the EAP officially enforced as of July 1. So, I should have a contract to sign. So hopefully by tomorrow, if my stand doesn't catch it. So that's been the problem.
Employee assistance program.
Got it.
The only thing I got is I want to thank everybody for the well wishes for my wife. She's doing better. She did, she's gonna be proud. She's still in, excuse me, still in Albany Med. And, you know, I've been in EMT for over 30 years, and first time I was ever scared at a call was when I saw my wife laying on the floor. But when they brought her up to the hospital, the emergency room was excellent, and the care she's getting on the floor is phenomenal. And she's going to be going to Sunnyview hopefully one day this week.
That's good.
But thank you, everybody.
Mary Jane, anything?
Just there, we have $2,606,000 in tax received.
Something. Okay.
A reminder, concerts in the park start tomorrow with the New York Players.
It was on your notes. You read your damn notes.
And food trucks are on Wednesdays. So tomorrow's New York Players. Wednesdays are food trucks. Food trucks last 4 weeks. Concerts in the park are 6 weeks, and then
There's a week off, and then there's
And then there's,
the community.
August 20th is the community night, and for all of the events, the rain location is going to be the farmer's market under the pavilion. So that
And they're
was,
all 6 o'clock start time.
Yeah, everything starts at
everything-
6.
yes.
Everything all mirrors in.
We will post, if it's going to the rain location, it will be
It'll
Sent out by
it'll
Everbridge.
Everbridge, the
Facebook
Facebook, and on the website.
and on the website. Okay, and there'll be a note in the kiosk on the, at the park. So. All right, public comment. Bill.
question. I'd like everybody to know in this village, I continue to support the South End Water and Sewer Project, which is not even, my understanding it's gonna begin the third week of this month. Second one, now June 12th of this year, while at Gadsden Smith Park Pavilion Building, I observed several lights as well as 4 fans that had left on the night before. So I report this problem to the Manans Police and the Clerk Don Hannon. I'd like to thank Public Works Department to resolve that problem. I don't like to see electricity being used when they should not be. Now, while I was doing political campaign work on June 8th of this year, I saw the lowest wooden stairwell to 3 Irving Place house is loose and needs replacement. I know the village does not own it, but I'm worried about somebody's gonna trip over and fall down and get injured, so I did report this to the police and the building inspector. Now, while walking up Brookside Avenue, I observed white lines next to the railway crossing on both sides of the street have bumps, cracks, ruts, and potholes, which need repaired, so I reported the problem to the Nance Police and Don Hanahan, and also while on the same street, I observed double yellow line on west side of that street, just west of the railway crossing, as one large right. So I report this problem to the Nance Police and Don Hanahan. And I donated 8 plastic containers to our village Public Works Department for stored items, so I'm glad that the bike appreciates what I had given, free of charge. And I'm requesting that our village pass and enforce a village ordinance forbidding having any fireworks within our village because it disturbs me and it scares me. I know it scares the cats and dogs, and kids can't get much sleep with fireworks. I do not like fireworks. Now, I'm also concerned about 59 Broadway building where a pristine car dealer used to be is in bad condition. I need to know, are there any tenants that still live in that building?
No.
So that's another abandoned building, not good. And since I report to Manans Police and Clerk Don Hannon dealing with one fire hydrant on Brookside Avenue, just east of Railway Crossing, being covered by brush and weeds, so I'm delighted to see that brush and weeds were cleared from the fire hydrant, and I wish to thank our PTW guys for getting the job done. And Brian and Nick, Tim, and Molly, I thank you for giving me written replies that you all promised me. I'm glad to now get the promise that you made to me. I'm glad you lived up to it. And by the way, Nick, I share your concern about the Redmond Ann Road crossing. Red lights were flashing when no trains were coming. I've noticed that. In fact, I was going to report that to the Manans Police and Don Hanner about it. When I came back a short time later, they were no longer flashing. What's the reason why they were flashing, those red lights?
I didn't hear a train going by.
No, I didn't see or hear no train go by.
Maybe they were testing them.
All right, that probably might.
They might have been testing them.
Hi, everyone. Brian and everyone on the village board, thanks for letting me speak on important issues.
Thanks, Bill.
You're welcome.
Dave.
2 things. First of all, I want to thank whoever put the write-up of my son in the weekly or monthly newsletter. I thought that was great. He loved working for the village, and he is.
How's he doing?
He's doing what he can. He's in reception. He's hoping to start boot camp on Friday. But yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Hot,
Yeah.
very hot.
Access?
He wanted hot. No, he's in Georgia.
Georgia.
The duty station when he's done with boot camp will be Fort Hood, Kentucky. So he's going to stay in the hot, but that's what he claims he likes. But I think he's really getting an idea of what hot means, especially because there's no air conditioning in the barracks he's sleeping in right now. On a different note, though, I emailed Don. The grinding that they did for the sidewalks, I constantly slip when in training. So I would definitely not do that anywhere else in the village. And I would hope that that company can come back and maybe put some grooves in there or something, because somebody's gonna get hurt. I'm not a young pup anymore, but I don't feel that I'm one that just can't catch themselves from falling. And my question in the email was, who would the person that falls sue, the village or the homeowner that's in front of who didn't request that work to be done? So I would just hope that there's a plan on fixing that before somebody gets hurt and others are being held liable for it. So,
So I did email, the gentleman that we had been speaking to from the grinding company. His name's Colt. And, he sent me a report that basically shows a lab test that the grinding is no more slippery than, so,
tell him,
Uh,
I'll invite him over to my house when I'm
so,
trying it.
right,
you
so,
could probably have seen me fall on your ring camera.
so,
It was in front of your house that I slipped the first time the other
I
day.
communicated with him that we respectfully disagree, and we're gonna follow up with him on a solution.
I'm just more thinking, not only for myself, but other people that.
Steve's looking out for me when he falls in front of my house.
Yeah.
You know?
I do, my wife said, she goes, Molly's probably got that. on her." I'm like,
Was he graceful?
Yeah, I didn't catch him, so.
no, it wasn't great,
Okay,
but I did catch it.
okay.
That's it.
Thanks, Steve. Anyone else?
Oh, I do.
Okay.
Thanks. I love my drainage door. I'll email you.
Okay. Anyone else? Do we have anything for executive session? No. Think we good. Right, I need a motion to adjourn.
A motion, 6:56.
Second?
All those in favor? Any opposed? It's a new record for the organizational meeting.
Was it Molly?
Yes. We chopped it down.
I like it.
I looked ahead and I saw 4 pages. I was gonna read it. I'm like, I'm gonna be here all night.
Yeah. Thank you. Good suggestion. As long as nobody minds. Huh? I can say it right.
Right, you texted me? Yeah. Okay, I know the number and I was like, I want to see that person who called who is. And I was like, oh, okay, yes. I mean, you can be honest. Trust me. I don't know, and I just want to know, I'm curious, I haven't said anything. Really? Fire? I don't.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it is, but is it, it's gonna be at night, right? Okay.
I don't expect it.
There is none. So here's where some of the calculation.
Right, I know, yeah, like all around the yard and find out.
That's one case. Right. So,
Right.
I thought it was like, it's gonna take a while.
It's funny because I know it's like,
that's
and I don't know that I go outside.
things that have been dealt with, that we're waiting.
Okay.
Yeah, we've done all the work.
So, 100 cases. We have noticed. We reckon I don't know. 100 cases. And that includes the one that was taken.
I get